watching San Antonio's news channel, KSAT 12, Marilyn Moritz. This is KSAT 12 News Tonight.
A nursing home professional charged with rape, the alleged victim a patient, a woman helpless to defend herself. Good evening, everyone. I'm Marilyn Moritz. Here's what's happening tonight, a break in the mysterious nursing home sex case.
KSAT 12 News Tonight.
This is the eve of the Republicans' big party. It could also be the eve of another showdown with Saddam Hussein. Good evening, everyone. I'm Marilyn Moritz.
Now, KSAT 12 News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Marilyn Moritz. Bob Salter is on vacation. Spencer Corey Goodman ran, but he could not hide. Now we're going to do sports.
My turn.
I was just anxious to get on with this.
Those stories are worth doing. I can wait, no problem.
Good. Yeah, you like Steven Stills.
Yeah. Now we know why the rest of them didn't show up. The place was too small to get Nash and Young in there.
Marilyn?
Bob, the battle lines were drawn early this morning when the commissioners made it clear from the start that at least one Air Force depot would get the axe. Commissioner Joe Robles of San Antonio made the first move and said close McClellan in California. Well, the BRAC did just that, but it didn't stop there.
Why News Star 12. Marilyn?
Bob, this is one tiny town with one very big mess. We're here in the parking lot of the Walmart store, and this area sustained some of the worst damage. You can see the parking lot here and all of the workers trying to pick up all the plants and the gardening supplies that were out in the parking lot for sale. This area was swept, the tornado swept through, causing quite a commotion, making quite a mess. And you can see the twisted metal over here, this pile of twisted metal. You're not going to believe where that came from. Follow with me over here. It came from all the way across this field, from that building right over there. This is an unrelated warehouse. Take a look at that. It is just shredded to pieces. Chunks of the roof flew apart, flew across the field to this Walmart, and as you can see, the walls have disappeared. Now, you don't have to look very far to see just how powerful this hurricane was. We drove from here all the way down to the coast and saw incredible scenes of Andrew's. Hurricane Andrew breathed mightily down the neck of Louisiana's Gulf Coast, and the people shivered.
But this is not fun. I mean, the chandeliers were rattling, most of the night.
Her entire home shook and toppled. Thousands had evacuated to shelters like this school, but even the shelters needed shelter. Andrew ripped off this roof. This is now a sign of irony. This is Morgan City, right on the coastline. It took the brunt of Andrew's wrath. Storefront windows are broken. In fact, the city is in shambles, splintered, and broken. These papers should tell them what's actually inside the truck, but during a random inspection of 400 trucks, the cargo and the paperwork did not match 90% of the time. It's Marilyn? Ursula, there's a bit of progress to report tonight. The FBI tells me that they ran bomb-sniffing dogs through the building behind me, and they found parts of the bomb. Marilyn? Ursula, prisoner Jonathan Moore is locked up tight in isolation in the Bexar County Jail here tonight. But at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, he had an appointment at the Brady Green Clinic to treat his asthma. It was a date with trouble. Now, still wearing his jail orange uniform and his head wrapped up in bandages, 21-year-old Jonathan Moore was taken to an ambulance and back to jail after the bold attempt. First, a powerful explosion, and now take a look at this. The clouds of thick smoke continue to cover the area, just about a quarter of a mile, less than that, south of Loop 410 at West Avenue. This is the Columbia Bowling Manufacturing Plant where they make bowling balls.
Marilyn?
Bob, yesterday there were about a half dozen protesters. This morning they were down to 4. Tonight, 2 people remain perched up in the trees. Now, we are being kept back a distance by this police barricade line. Anyone who trespasses will be promptly arrested. But the 2 are still up there. They're still in their trees, and they've been up there for 24 hours. Don't you think this is a little extreme?
What we're doing?
Yeah.
Well, we're forcing the issue.
Forcing the issue and taking their protest to new heights. This is old and used, but this is a pretty typically sized kitchen range. Now, a 3-year-old weighs about 30 pounds. Now, imagine if he opens the oven door, decides to climb on, it's enough to do this. One at a time, the suspects faced a verbal firing squad. Words of guilt, but no shame. One even stripped his shirt to reveal an arrow cut into his arm, a symbol he was appointed to kill. This suspect, a U.S. college student, told how they abducted Mark Kilroy from a Matamoros street and took him to the ranch.
I didn't kill him, but the one who killed him, they hit him with a machete.
This is Rancho Santa Elena, a virtual graveyard where the dozen bodies and the horrifying secrets were buried. The signs of torture are everywhere. Over there, a small wooden shack, which in actuality was a slaughterhouse. A 19-mile chunk of Oklahoma is littered with ugly scenes just like this. Now, earlier today, we traveled about 30 miles south to the town of Bridge Creek. It's been hit hard, and it's going to take a long time to heal. The story of terror, the phone where Corolla Spencer frantically dialed for help. So this is how Dana Norris saved herself. She climbed underneath her desk in this cubbyhole and barricaded herself. Former Cisneros assistants John Rosales and Sylvia Arce Garcia also pleaded not guilty to keeping secrets. What gives you faith that the justice system is going to work?
I just have faith in our country's institutions. I always have, believe in it deeply, and I especially believe in the fairness of the judicial system. It'll all work out.
We'll see. The judge let everybody go free on bond and then marked his calendar for November 4th, the day to go to trial. In Washington, Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
That's where our Marilyn Moritz is. Marilyn?
Bob, this will certainly be celebration central tonight. Two Republicans here tonight facing only minor opposition. Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, certainly considered a shoo-in for her nomination, and George W. Bush, a shoo-in for that nomination for the race for governor, and he joins me live. Welcome. Your campaign manager resigned this week. Why, and what does that do to your campaign?
Well, really nothing. It's been planned because his replacement starts tomorrow.
The papers included this warranty deed. They'd used their house as collateral. When the charges were dropped, the Lopezes went on with their lives, though still owing Alfaro. So he claimed the house for a $600 debt.
What do you make of that?
Minimal.
The state is trying to shut down that particular daycare, the 5th in 3 years. The others closed down for sex abuse, physical abuse, neglect, and taking in too many children. So we begin today with a look at the City Council's new home. But to understand the future, you have to know something about the past. So let's take you back 72 years. It's the roaring 20s at the old Main Plaza, and this is Frost National Bank. Inside, the bank lobby has stone arches, an ornate ceiling, and that staircase down to the vault, Italian marble. Relocated just a bit and a few finishing touches, and you now have a stairway to heaven for City Council.
This natural curvature here and this natural backdrop was there, and we took advantage of that.
This is the new City Council chambers. You might remember it as Luby's Cafeteria in the 70s and 80s.
When we first looked at this thing, if you looked at the kitchen, you looked at the floor, you looked at the condition of it, you saw the challenge.
The challenge: turn a majestic but crusty asbestos-plagued building into a public meeting house.
What you want to do is somehow be able to fit the function and yet keep the original architecture as much as possible.
The main objective: make more room for the public. The old chambers has 158 seats. The new, 252 seats at $127 each. Less than 2 hours left in office, and there he is, still walking the streets and still kissing babies. After 4 terms as mayor, habits are hard to break.
Well, he slobbered me pretty good.
Blue jeans aren't just blue jeans anymore. In the environmentally conscious fashion industry, green is the hot new color. And for Charles Cade, that could mean fashionably deeper and greener pockets. Children usually need organs from other children so they'll fit better, but child donors are rare. Children just don't die that often from accidents or gunshot wounds. But child or adult donors are in short supply. Hearts, 6 hours. So grieving families are approached about organ donation at a difficult time, but laws require that somebody at the hospital ask. And a recent law says if family cannot be reached and asked within 4 hours, then the medical examiner can okay organ removal. But that is rarely, if ever, done. For the next several hours, Sage's tiny body and young life will be in the hands of this medical team. With this surgical gamble, they have a chance to dramatically change the odds. Finally, a personal note. When I first met Ruben and Becky and Sage last summer, none of us ever expected this story to end this way. It is their hope that their anguish can open your eyes and that you will consider being a donor. It is their hope that their son Sage touched people's lives. Becky and Reuben, he did. We'll be back.